the commissioners, of course, would really get to talk first, and due to time constraints and such, if the public wants to offer input, please ask. So let's go ahead and keep to the normal agenda. New items for discussion. The BEI cleaning program is something that Commissioner Eggleston has been spearheading, so do you want to present anything?
Yeah, just a second.
While we're waiting, you brought a handout of some
I
sort.
brought some handouts. I'm not sure I brought enough. I have our annual report. Then I have some of the brochures that outline the services and programs for employment for our clients, including the group services. And then the last thing I have is the governor's executive order for the state of Pennsylvania to become an employment first policy, which is increasing competitive integrated employment for Pennsylvanians with a disability. So just pass that out with some PowerPoint that I received and used in presentations. I don't know how far you want me to go. I've done presentations around the community to try to get opportunities for the individuals that are employed at BEI. Those of you in the audience may not be aware, our clientele is individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and under the Workforce Innovation Opportunities Act, we are charged with the responsibility to get them out in the community as much as possible. Back in the day, the traditional classroom that you saw in the school, all the special ed kids went to that classroom. As an educator for 29 years, that has changed tremendously, where the kids now are fully integrated as much as possible in the classrooms throughout the school. What happened is the workshops, your traditional workshops, weren't held to the same standard they currently are. So the charge to the workshops is to get the clients out as much as possible in the community. And the flyer I have, we've been doing real good with Dairy Queen. We partnered with them, and we're sending individuals out there for competitive employment. The idea behind going after the RFP for the courthouse was to kind of meet the executive order that Governor Wolf put out and meet the requirements under the Workforce Innovation Opportunities Act. So this will allow us to have clients in the courthouse cleaning and doing some things at a time that's appropriate. That was one of the concerns that we heard to do that. So we filled out the RFP as was provided and submitted it, and that's why we're here today. So that's the short version.
Right. So the long version is that we put this out to bid because we wanted to get, another take on cleaning services. We felt it was time, and so BEI and Bonded were the two services that put in bids on the contract or on the request. Of those two bids, they were practically identical. Bonded was $1,000 cheaper overall, and then BEI was cheaper on whatever the third part of the contract was. Either way, it was pretty even. At the time, we ended up taking a vote on this, and we went with Bonded in order to continue the same level of service. We had a lot of questions as far as how BEI will be integrated into the courthouse overall, just because there are a lot of unique situations that are associated with it. Their setup involves, and this is a part of their mandate, is to integrate people as much as possible into the workforce. So currently Bonded comes in after hours and does all the cleaning that they do. Nobody here ever sees them. It's a traditional cleaning contract. With BEI, I can't remember, is it one or two coordinators will basically be managing 2 to 3.
Our ratio is 1 to 3.
1 to 3.
1 to 3 is our ratio required by code.
Yeah. 1 to 3 individuals from BEI, and they'll come in during the day and do a good chunk of the cleaning during the day. So that'll involve dusting, emptying waste baskets, picking up trash, doing all of the stuff that doesn't involve a great deal of noise. Right, Doug? And yeah, you can set it up here. And then after 4:30, when we shut the offices down, they'll come in and do, the vacuuming, the hard cleaning, all the stuff that requires a lot of noise and interaction. we've worked on this for over a month, basically talking with the directors, talking with different departments that we felt would have the biggest challenge in accommodating this situation. Everybody has been incredibly kind and very good about trying to figure out a way to utilize the service. With the understanding that there'll be some accommodations made because certain departments have needs as far as, confidentiality, or there's times during the day that it's not appropriate for cleaning to happen and stuff like that. So the plan is going to be pretty comprehensive as far as that goes with each individual department, some of them having their own accommodations based on their requests. I'm really excited about this opportunity. I think that it's a really fantastic way for the county to help a community integrate themselves into the workforce. It's a real challenge because initially the requests that were made of BEI were pretty astounding, and they scaled them back. And now with those new recommendations, we can accommodate them. It's important to know that we appreciate the work that Bonded's done. That this decision is based entirely on our need to work. Our interest in working with BEI, our interest in moving forward with this. This is a project. Integrating persons with disabilities into the workforce within the courthouse. I'm really excited to see what they're going to be doing, what they're capable of doing, and continuing to work with them. What's going to happen if the other two commissioners are willing to move forward on this project would be that we'd essentially give Bonded we have a 2-month window with them to step out of the contract, and then after that 2 months, BEI would step in. We have an agreement that's available right now that we're still working on and looking at. That will continue to work with the solicitor and with Dr. Clark in order to make sure that we cross our T's and dot our I's. So, does anybody have any questions about it?
The only thing I've heard from at the department head meeting when we last got together was everybody seemed in agreement this was a good opportunity for us to impact a needing demographic, and BEI I'm sure will have a great working relationship with.
I think it's important to note that the district attorney, the courts, everybody has been very positive about the notion of engaging in this agreement and trying to work with BEI on this project. So,
there was a talk about a schedule.
yes.
Now, do you know when that schedule would be forthcoming so that we could adjust for that for confidentiality reasons?
I think that we have that within the next couple of weeks. As for instance, like your office and others like it, where you're dealing with confidential information or you're having meetings that should be considered confidential, a part of that overall program. That's a big camera.
Big camera.
Yeah.
All right, anything more from the commissioners? Very good. So you want to have public comment and wanted to add to the conversation? All right. Well, thank you very much for coming by, Mr. Clark. It's very promising. Thanks.
So I just note that we'll have an agreement for next Wednesday's meeting. So that'll be another opportunity for comments on it.
Do you want to schedule for that meeting? Should we work on that between now and then?
If we could, that would be very helpful.
Okay, so
I think that would be.
We can sit down.
Mhm.
Because the outbuildings, I think we have, it was the courthouse, which was the
Yeah.
lion's share of the confidentiality issues were, that
Yeah.
we were well aware of that we want to address.
Okay.
Very good. All right. Is there any other new items of discussion that either of you wanted to raise?
Is the talk experiencing thing, is that on old items? Or is that not on there?
Well, I think it's, I don't know, go ahead.
Okay. So we have an agreement with, and for those of you who aren't, I'm going to assume that nobody has any idea what this is. It's a matter of, it's a formality to some degree. It's one that I'd rather, there are other things I'd rather be discussing. But basically, several years ago, as a part of the matching funds for the TALK organization to PennDOT, the county entered into a three-way agreement between Experiencing, the county, and TALK. This was to produce funds for, or matching funds to draw down PennDOT dollars. At the time, everybody involved, all of the three parties that were involved, felt that it was a legal agreement that they all had an understanding that they were, contributing funds in order to produce a match for PennDOT. At some point in the past year, basically PennDOT took a look at it and found that it was not a legal agreement. That basically Experiencing gets the majority of their money from federal and state dollars, and so for them to put money into the pot would be considered double dipping. And so basically PennDOT came to us and said, listen, we'd like you to set up an agreement with Experience in order to pay back the matching funds that you have been, or that they have been providing as a part of this three-way agreement. And so we have an agreement that's been produced. A couple of the numbers have to be changed because the original number that we were working with was actually incorrect, and that was largely due to us returning money to Experiencing after realizing that the agreement, after being contacted by PennDOT. So let's let the gentleman get situated. So the total number of the original agreement was $131,377, and that was over the course of several years. We returned this year's payment, and Judy can correct me if I'm wrong, of $24,927. So the county will be paying back $106,450 to Experiencing. And basically what this means is the county is just going to would have matched that money instead of Experiencing matching the money. So the money that went to the TALK in order to support the bus, the shared ride and the fixed route programs would have come from the county instead of Experiencing. So the way the agreement is set up currently, it'll go over 10 years, so it will be $10,645 a year for 10 years, and that'll be our payment. This agreement is going to be set up for our next meeting on next Wednesday. It's available for anybody who wants to look at it. Does anybody have any questions about this agreement?
We got the figures corrected.
Yep. Yeah.
Is the original agreement going to be available so people can understand?
The original agreement is incorporated into the agreement, so if you read through it, you can see what the original agreement was. Basically, it gives the original agreement, and then it shifts to stating that the parties found that this agreement was not appropriate, and that we're now shifting back, and we're going to be giving the money to Experiencing.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
Very
I
good.
have a question. I probably should know this pretty well. Are we then still contributing, aside from paying back the ineligible funds, or whatever, appropriate funds, are we still contributing to a three-way match to assist them in getting funding going forward?
Well, it wouldn't be a three-way match.
Okay.
Like Experience basically, Experience Inc. is no longer involved in contributing any money to the TALK as part of a matching fund.
So So the county will be picking up its matching fund going forward, plus we will be paying back the other?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Anything else on talk? All right. One thing that we had forgotten to bring up last time was the West PA, or maybe that happened after. But if you don't mind me calling on you, could you give us an update on what happened?
It's a radio circuit that we have that goes to our Sheffield Tower site that starts at obviously starts at the 911 center in Youngsville and goes on copper wires through the Youngsville CO and then into Warren and through Warren to someplace in between Warren and Sheffield, and changes from copper from Verizon to Windstream, and then we go from Windstream to the fire station in Sheffield, and then it goes from the fire station in Sheffield via a small microwave link to the tower up on top of the hill. So there's a whole bunch of places that we can have issues. And where a problem lies in is that sometimes with fire department's tones going off, if the levels are just a little off, if Verizon's a little off and Windstream's a little off and the microwave's just a little bit off, you add the three together and things, sometimes don't work. Right. Well, we had issues over in the past, and now the tower is owned by West PA. West PA has fiber that runs from their tower all the way through Warren and into Youngsville. It doesn't come to the 911 center, it's in the middle of town. And West PA has offered to lease us the fiber to go from Youngsville to the tower site for the almost identical price that we're paying when you add Verizon and Windstream up. Those antiquated copper lines, they're going to give us a fiber connection for about the same price. It's within like $12 a month. And then that'll be a dedicated rate from Youngsville to the tower site. No middlemen, no things like that. Well, at one point in time, we were going to deal with bringing fiber from the middle of Youngsville to the 911 center. The problem was that was about a $7,500 outlay, a one-time outlay. Well, I have an offer from Youngsville TV, who has dark fiber that runs from across the street from West PA right to, it's actually literally in our building. So, and we just started having problems again with the circuit last week, and I emailed the commissioners and said, hey, can we start moving forward to this? And and that's why I came today to bring this up, that we can, we're still moving forward. We haven't switched yet because it's, still working in the process of, because we got to run a piece of fiber from one side of the street in Youngsville to the other side of the street right in the middle of town. And the West PA and Youngsville TV are doing that in conjunction together, even though they are competitors in Youngsville for public safety. And Youngsville TV is, because it's a nonprofit corporation, they're going to supply us with that dark fiber from their building to our building, no charge.
That's amazing.
Well,
if I could kind of summarize all of that then. Basically, old system was deteriorating and not working correctly, causing a public safety emergency in Sheffield.
yes.
We've been talking about it for a long time. We've been talking about moving to the system for a long time, but the impetus really came when a circuit went a couple weeks ago, and that caused you to email the three of us asking for an emergency approval moving forward, which we granted. So now we'll just need to bring it up in the next public meeting in order to vote on it.
Sign the contract.
To actually sign the contract with West PA. So that'll be a new agenda.
It's a no, like I said, it's like,
Doesn't
I think
cost
$12
more.
or $14 a month difference. So
Right.
it's minute compared to us going from those old copper lines to.
Right. So now we're going to go to something that's dedicated, that's reliable, and
Yes.
we'll be sure to be able to dispatch Sheffield area
Yes.
personnel. Perfect. All right. Any other things to discuss from the Commissioner's perspective? Any department heads want to raise issues that we should talk about? All right, hearing none, let's move on to quarterly objectives. This has been on our agenda since, I think January was the first time we sat down and identified what we wanted to accomplish in the quarter. And for the most part, I would say it's all on that document over there. For the most part, we were able to get most of it done. I guess it's the front sheet, but some of them lagged into the second quarter, some into the third. And now I'm looking, in a couple of weeks, we're going to start the fourth quarter, and I wanted to identify what projects we want to accomplish in the last quarter of the year, what projects we need to be preparing for to do in 2018. So let's spend a few minutes talking about what those are. I figure I'll put them up here on this side of the wall. And then if we want to go over department and committee updates and that sort of thing, we can do that. But I think we're all interested in a short meeting, so.
Should we organize them by category?
Yeah, what I was thinking of doing was, just a normal Kanban board. What we could do is put the projects that we want to do in the next quarter in a backlog until they're actually active. If you want to put active ones in here, we can. It's going to bridge multiple quarters. We'll put it here, and then once it's done, we'll put it here to really be able to tell what we've done. If it's public safety, I could put a public safety sticky down here. These could be public safety, the next could be assessment, or whatever department you want. So, I know pictometry is something that you're heading up, right? Okay. Yes,
Do you want to put our name on these, or do you want?
Well, for this, I just put the title of it, pictometry.
Okay.
Commissioner Morrison sending it out for the assessment department.
Okay.
For us, we've got a bunch of things. Your CAD's active.
And we were informed I was just informed this morning that within 2 weeks we will be getting officially getting the money from PEMA, the 15% funding, and L County will be signing the contract. So that's about a $2.5 million project that Warren County would have been, which we're in dire need of a new computer-aided dispatch system. I've updated the commissioners quite a few times as this is going on, but we're looking at, a savings to the county of hundreds of thousands of dollars. We would have been looking at close to $400,000 to do this project just on our own, which would have been in the past if the 911 funding hadn't been changed over the last few years. And we're looking at, like I said, a $0 outlay compared to many hundreds of thousands. And that holds for all the 10 counties in the northern tier.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've got CAD, radios. What else do we want to put for DPS? Should I move radio system to long-term thing? Yeah, and that encompasses actually a bunch of smaller projects underneath it. So, for instance, I think we still have a couple of things to do for the tower sites that can fit into radio. Investigating P25 is something that could fit into that. All right. Those public safety related.
The only other, and it's not really a long term, it's just as an FYI, our local emergency planning committee is going to be losing a planning facility. I hope the commissioners are aware that Torpedo Wire and Strip is closing their doors. They will be done the end of September. About 40 employees.
Wow.
They the business had been for sale and did not sell. The owner sold the equipment to a competitor, and as we speak, the employees are there tearing the machines down, and they're being hauled to Connecticut. So most of the employees will be done the end of September, and there'll be a few there finishing up, cleaning up sometime until probably close to Thanksgiving.
Backlog or projects that aren't active but that we're considering?
Backlog would be something that we want to work on, but don't initially have a schedule. There's no progress on it yet. So if you're already like investigating quotes and stuff, then that would be active. Civil process software procure / dispatch, etc. is something that we're gathering quotes on, so I put that in the active category. Anything else sheriff related? If we get you that software, is everybody happy? All right.
It's okay to say no.
Yeah, and this is by no means like it doesn't have to be a complete list. BEI contract, that's something you should put on there, Jeff, since you're having that up. Attorney Shreve, what are we doing legal-wise that needs to be up on here?
Pretty much what we had discussed prior. Hate to publicly comment on litigation, but several matters have been resolved, and actually we have a pretty light basis right now. So
Good.
It's looking very favorable.
That's comforting to hear.
Yeah.
Anything for you?
I got with Judy the state grants that we had received. We have closed out. I've purchased our new computer system, the new fax printer machine, and then all the outsourcing we were able to do for veterans. So that closed out this month.
Fantastic. So that'd be a complete project.
And we will try it again next year.
Good. Tax claim, anything for you? No projects? Tax sales coming up soon, right?
Yeah.
Next week. That'll be the big deal. HR, I know we need to update the handbook, employee handbook. Let's put that on there. Did you say you're working on that actively or soon?
Soon.
All right. Put
That
that
job
on
descriptions.
there too. Anything else for HR?
More courthouse wide, I guess, getting all the documents scanned for their electronic files.
That's a good call. Boy, that's just maybe we should put that as a records retention project in itself, huh?
Yeah, falls under either one.
Yeah. Okay. Just something you'll be starting soon, but it's not really active, right? So.
No, it is active.
Yeah.
I've got A's and I got the B's started.
All right. Fiscal's doing requisitions. That's something we should probably put on here. Oh, and how could I forget the budget? Anything for you? All right.
RFP for TAM,
Dan, yeah, that's good.
RFP for auditors,
Yep.
completing current audit.
Is there much more for us to do on that?
Still waiting for documents on things.
Very well.
Put the RFP out for, I believe, put the RFP out for the current audit, so we're already getting requests for information.
No, we haven't sent that
Oh,
out yet.
okay.
We gotta get our list together.
Okay, the request for TN information, I'm
Yes.
getting that.
Right.
Maximum allocation,
Oh,
that's
man.
supposed to start up as soon as the audit's done.
You've got a lot. Okay.
And then the commissioners did an RFP for a consulting firm, and that was supposed to start up when the audit's done, but I don't know if you've picked a consulting firm
We
yet.
have not. So, in fact, did we put that back out for bid? Or what should we do there?
Why are we not interested in Susquehanna?
I believe it was just because I thought it was a consensus of the board that there was only one response and we wanted to add at least one other response just for due diligence.
I thought you two were very enthused with them.
Not particularly. I mean, they were certainly competent, but
I like Susquehanna. Both DCD and a couple other people raised concerns about them just because it had been a while since they've done one of these projects, and their focus is almost entirely financial. And they were saying that part of the EIP is other elements of management, business practice, the whole nine yards. So they raised concerns that Susquehanna would be able to do everything that they could do with the grant. So I think that's a legitimate concern. The city has tried to get involved in this program, and they found a couple of vendors that it would be good to have them bid on the project, just to get to have other vendors to take a look at.
Why didn't they submit anything to the first RFP we put out?
Basically what happened is DCED, or the people that were in the group, really promoted this program very heavily. And so as a result, all of the vendors in the state got flooded with requests from a variety of municipalities, county governments, and so they had a very difficult time scheduling. I mean, they basically got swamped. And we came into this program at the very tail end of the cycle, so all of the vendors had been scheduled with other people. So trying to get them in even for a meeting was very difficult. I was happy with Susquehanna because they had been involved in Jefferson County's EIP. The thing is that they had done that 10 years ago, or 10 or 8 years ago, maybe more than that, might be 12, but and they had a lot of really good things to say, but their EIP was almost entirely financial. And so if there are other organizations, I don't see a reason to hurry up and do it immediately. So if we can get a couple other bids, a couple other organizations interested, then it'd be worthwhile.
When you say DCED, is that Ed Forsnot?
At FOSNOT, yes.
Forsnot.
Yeah.
Are we running against any time period on whenever they gave us that original, weren't they?
There were
helping to
some
pay
funds
for the
available that were left for this year, so we've missed that deadline.
negative.
Well, it depends on if the state raids all their funds.
Well, it does depend on whether the state raises the funds, but tentatively it's sitting there earmarked for us, and I believe they said we have 2 years to spend it. So we should, and I believe that 2 years started from when we applied. So I want to say we have until maybe as far as May 2019 to spend it and get reimbursed. But at minimum, we'd have a year. So as long as we do it sometime this quarter, next quarter, something like that, we should be fine.
And so the idea would be if we could get another, 1 or 2 agencies to do a bid within the next couple of months. The idea would be to initiate it, late winter, early spring, or arrange something to do it next year.
Okay. Anything else we want to try to accomplish in this quarter, upcoming quarter, that is?
Was the boiler system up there?
I'll write it.
That's a good one.
Is the work release center still on there anywhere?
It can be.
Yeah, sure.
I think that would be long term.
Long-term thing, yeah. Or about not something we'd accomplish in this quarter, but
Christmas party
should have got this.
It is a little bit of
We can add to this as we need to, but I think it's helpful to see visibly what projects are a priority for us and see it move along to completion. So,
What about the cell doors, or cell locks?
that's longer term. Jeff, you want
Yeah.
that and the jail elevator, I guess. It's a 2018 thing at the soonest. Of course, if you do the work release program, then maybe you don't need to place the jail outs. I don't know.
Has the roof issue been corrected?
Roof issue?
Yes.
With what roof?
The courthouse roof.
The architect associated with E&M is having their roof guy come in like next week and then do a tour of the roof in order to come up with a projected cost of what it's going to take to take care of the leaks, upgrade the gutters and the downspouts and all the other elements related to the roof. So they apparently, what's the architect's name?
E&M.
No, not the engineer.
R.W. Larson?
Yeah, R.W. Larson. I ran into a woman related to R.W. Larson, talked to her. Apparently they have a pretty good roof guy who's been involved in like historic roofs and stuff like that, and he can do a really thorough evaluation of it. So basically all they'll give us is a proposal as to, and then we can make a determination of what we want to do with it going forward.
Okay. Well, as we think of more in future work sessions, we can throw more on there. Any project updates that either of you wanted to add?
I think I have some, but I can do them next time.
Okay. You? Okay, very good. The next public meeting isn't until next week, so we can review the agenda at the next public meeting. Any departments that wanted to give any update while they're here? Okay, very good.
I do have a constituent concern. I was contacted by a constituent who's very upset with our sidewalks that surround the courthouse.
I put that at the top of the list, yeah.
I put it on there too.
Yeah, the problem there, I believe, is that we put it out to bid, accepted the bid, and haven't been able to get a response from the winning bidder, so.
Yeah, I've had several contacts too in the past week about it. So I think it's something that we're going to need to light a fire under.
Yeah, it has to be done before winter.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anything schedule-wise you wanted to raise? I think it's a pretty quiet week for me, and I should just be here all week. Can't remember anything. Yep, quiet week, be here mostly. General discussion, anything more to raise?
I'll be out of the office all next week on vacation.
Right, okay. Definitely need to take those up. All right, due to the time, if anybody has comments, I'm happy to hear, but let's keep it to just a few minutes for each person. Any public comments? Something's wrong when John's doesn't have something.
Well, I will make one comment, and that's just to thank Jeff for his participation in the river cleanup last week. I think that was a great event, as usual, and when it's been ongoing, I think that was our 9th year.
Mm-hmm.
So fortunately, we had great weather, and I think everybody enjoyed the time out on Conroe Creek and on the river.
Did they weigh everything like they did?
They did. I haven't got the statistics yet, but we'll be getting those out to you.
It'd be interesting to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess that's something that I'd like to talk about really quickly is I had a fantastic time as a part of that. I got torn up one side and down the other, crawling through bushes, and I almost ran into the biggest spider I've ever seen. But it was fantastic, and I was really impressed with how clean the river was. I've been aware of the event. I have a lot of friends that have been involved in the event. Every year there always seems to be some kind of a situation where I can't make it or something, but they always tell me about how great it is. and they always have these pictures of all the junk they grab. And so I just assumed that it was going to be like a treasure trove of stuff, and I was going to, and we did get quite a bit of stuff, but it was like we had to really dig to get everything out, and most of the stuff we got was off of the islands. And the other thing is that the guy I ended up riding with, because I was one of the few people that nobody knew or nobody had been to the thing before, so I got to ride down the river with this guy named Joe from Pittsburgh. Came up from Pittsburgh just to do the river cleanup, and then went off to our camping sites in order to scope out camping sites in order to camp up here. And I thought, it's not only a good thing for the community, but it's also kind of a tourist attraction, cleaning up the Allegheny River. I'd like to do a proclamation for next Wednesday. I'll have it for Monday, voicing the support of the commissioners for the river cleanup. I'd also like to have a discussion about next year, anticipating the week of the river cleanup and putting out a resolution making it River Cleanup Week in Warren County. I think that the more attention we can draw to that event and the effort that's being made, within the community, I think the better. It really was. It was really a fantastic time. Very good, wonderful, well organized. Just all around.
And who organizes that?
Yeah, it's actually, it takes a village to organize this.
Sure.
Nonprofits include Conowingo Creek Watershed, WCCBI, the Conservation District. We rely on the Forest Service to bring their boats and some of their personnel. The Army Corps of Engineers, the State Bureau of Forestry, the list goes on and on. It's quite a group, and it's an informal group, actually, that gets together and manages to pull this off every year. Should mention Piper Van Ort at Allegheny Outfitters as well, who was one of the founders of the cleanup and continues to be associated with it and brings out canoes for people to use and that sort of thing.
Very good.
I would like to bring up an event this weekend. It's going to be Saturday. I believe the hours are 9 to 2 for Hooktown Holidays. It is their largest fundraiser. There are two locations. One is 1235 Conowingo, and the other is 1221 Conowingo. What it is basically a garage sale. Many members of our community have been so gracious to donate a lot of goods, some brand new, to this sale. It's grown in size so much that they have, I believe, 7 different locations just completely packed with things to sell for the sale. And if you count where this one sale is taking place, that would be at 1221. His garage is completely packed. The location up on 1235 Conowingo will have vendors selling their wares. There will be some food vendors as well as jewelry and such. So it should prove to be a very good event. I hope that everyone can take a little time out of their day and come support Hooktown Holidays. I think it'll be a nice event.
Did you say 9 to 2?
I believe it's 9 to 2.
Okay.
And don't forget to mention what Hooktown Holidays
Okay.
does with their
Well,
funds.
I was going to
Hooktown
allude
Holidays
to
is a
that.
local profit, and the reason why this, ask Terry Pearson, who is the founder of Hooktown Holidays, but the reason for the funds that they collect is to help support children in our community who are needy. And they do a lot of good things with the money they collect. They have the backpack program, for one, and they contribute a lot of the funds that they collect to the different charities in town. They go out of their way to make sure that these kids are taken care of. And they have grown so immensely in the last few years. This garage sale has really taken off, and the community support for this event has been outstanding. And I'm proud to say I'm involved with this.
If I could echo on what you said, Hooktown also was instrumental in establishing a Food for Veterans program. They do it in Erie. They are going to start doing it in Warren at the clinic. So that'll start in October. Hooktown also donates part of the money they make to the Veterans Emergency Fund that we have here in Warren County. So they do an awful lot with their funds.
Great.
Thank you, Ann.
All right, any other announcements? Any other topics of discussion? Very good. We're adjourned. Thanks.